Alright guys, so I'm coming at you here today. Um, for me to say I haven't been going through something, you know, that would be an understatement. Um, but I joke around and say, I think I got 300,000. I mean, I think I got 3,000 followers. And I've been, I'm always joking, say that two to three people that look at my videos all the time when I post, about two to three people that, actually follow and like the channel, like me. So, I'd be joking around, but if you follow the channel, about 3.5 weeks ago, I hurt my arm at work rolling the tarp. So the tarp handle, it fell off, and normally when you put the tarp handle, it bends up when either you open or close it. It bends up, so the handle, that I used the right hand to roll, it was pointed up. When it fell off, when they put it back on, they put it on going down. So normally when I get to the center, like it's two long rods in the center of the trailer, and you gotta make the one long rod go, you gotta get the one bar to go over the other bar. So I normally push up with the right hand with that, and I think I was so used to doing it that way. The tarp handle fell off every 3 to 5 years. It's just a pin that go through there and they get rusted over time, and you go to spin it, sometime it'll spin and won't roll, or sometimes it just fall off. I've lost them going down the highway. They just, you don't be paying attention and it just either breaks or it's, this, but they fall out and then they have to put a new pin in it. And when they put the top handle back on, when you put it up against the trailer, it will be pointed down instead of up the way it had been. So when it got to the center, I think I rolled it for like a day. The first day, maybe 2 days. That third day, I went to roll it, and I had been rolling it that way. You get to the center and I go up, and I don't know, you just never know if it was a little windy that day. I wasn't paying attention to all of that because I've been rolling that tarp for over 25 years, so you just do it, don't be paying attention. But I don't know, sometimes the wind could be a little heavier or whatever, which, I done had the tarp blow all the way over the side of the trailer before. I think that's happened twice. So I try to position my trailer, when you can. Some pits you can, some pits you can't, and try to position it where the wind is helping me close it instead of blowing it and catching it. But I don't really know what happened that day. All I know is that it pulled, when I went over that center bowl, it pulled up on my left arm, it popped, and it went down, it kind of, so, it popped, and then I rolled the tarp, I think the rest of the day. That was early in the morning when it happened. First load down to Peter Baker, and I just, didn't really pay no attention, kept rolling the tarp. I think after work I had to pick up some topsoil for my garden, and they like 10-pound bags, and I went to pick them up and I kind of felt a little something. Still wasn't, I'm like, oh, that ain't, you think you're gonna lay down, and well, I went to lay down that night and it started bothering me. I couldn't sleep. So I think I text, because they send emails now, the young guys, the sons that's taking over for their dad, they send texts. So I text them like at 3 in the morning, told them, hey, I'm not sleeping, I was rolling my tarp and my shoulder popped. I won't be in. So I didn't work that Thursday. I went in, I think I called them well, I don't think, I called him Thursday, and he asked, was I going to the doctor? And I said, I'm hoping it's just gonna, be something, I'm just thinking it's really nothing. I've never really been injured in my life, guys. So, I'm like, no, I'm, try to make it in tomorrow, which I did. That Friday I went to work, and it was still bothering me, but I was hoping that it would be all right. So I didn't roll the tarp. I think I rolled the tarp that day. I did. I rolled it Friday all day, back and forth, 4 loads, eight times really, because you haul 4 loads a day. So you got to roll it, open it up, get loaded, then close it. So I rolled the tarp that day, and it was just popping, and I would get a sharp pain in my shoulder, But I rolled it, and then when I got in that night, I told him, I said, hey, there's something wrong. I said, I'm probably going to have to go to the doctor, see about this. And, Tom told me, he said, well, just give it a few days, see what happens. If you work Monday, if it's still bothering you, Tuesday or something, Wednesday, you go to the doctor. So I'm like, yeah, that'll work. So I rested all that weekend. I didn't do nothing in the garage. I didn't do nothing at work, So I'm talking to a few friends. They're like, oh, you need to get a lawyer. Well, no, that was a few days later. So I just really didn't do nothing that week, that weekend. So I went to work Monday, and I told him, I think I told him that Friday, I said, hey, if I work Monday, I said, can I not roll the tarp? They said, yeah, but Baker kind of wants you to have your tarp rolled when you come in the yard. So they said, no problem, we'll call and talk to him. I think Todd said, we're going to have to make a call or something. So I worked that day, and, it was hurting. I'm kind of driving, shift, turn the steering wheel with the right hand some, then hold it with the left fingers, then I shift, then I turn a little more, and then I let it roll back. Sometimes I forget the shoulders not bother me, and then, I'm doing too much, and it's popping, and it's hurting, and I'm, so, the wife called to make me an appointment with Dr., I think his name is Bamrod or something, and he couldn't get me in to after the holiday. So I told John when I got in that Tuesday, because I think I worked 2 days. And I told Tom, I'm like, Tom, I gotta go, I was talking to Jerry first. I'm like, do I need a slip or something to go, seeing that this happened at work? He said, no. Then his dad said, no, we'll get you a slip, So they gave me something for me to go, and they made me an appointment at where I get my physicals done at. And I went there, and the lady, I'm talking to her, and she gave me an x-ray, whatever. I was telling her, I said, yeah, the wife says sometimes the x-rays don't show up, might have to have an MRI. She said, we got to do the x-ray first. And I'm like, okay, because I'm like, she, it was kind of throbbing a little bit, but when I move it, it really would hurt. So, the thing about that is that, they had me there, I think I waited like an hour and a half for the x-ray, and got the x-ray. The lady asked me something about work. I said, well, I've been working. So she said, well, I'm going to send you to work, and kind of let her know I wasn't sleeping that good. and she said she would give me something, help with the pain and the sleep at night. So she sent me to work, and I asked her, could I take off the rest of the day and go get the medicine so I could start taking the medicine, because I really didn't sleep the night before. She's like, no, that ain't how workman comps work. You know, you got to go to work. You know, your job can give you off. Well, job ain't going to give me off if the doctor's saying I could work. You know, that's just the way, you know, the company is. So she didn't give me the medicine, give me no time to, you know, see if the medicine helped me sleep that night. She just sent me, I left from there and went to work. And, you know, I was tired on the truck. I wasn't really falling asleep. I was tired. And I got through that day, and I think that was, what was that? That was like a Thursday or something like that when she seen me. I have to look at the notes. But anyway, yeah, I ended up working that day, shoulder popping, hurting, you know, whatever. So she set me up for MRI. So the MRI was for that Monday or Tuesday. And I went in for the MRI, and I don't know what that thing was doing. That thing felt like it was pulling. You had to stay in one position. It seemed like it was pulling and pushing, and they had it propped up, and I wonder if that thing vibrates and pull. You know, it seemed like it was doing a lot. And they had already told me, the guy before me, I waited in there for like, almost an hour, like 45 minutes to an hour, because they say he kept moving. So I'm like, well, the way this thing is hurting in this thing, I said, you know, I'm not going to move, because, you know, I was making noise. I don't think she could hear me because it's a tube. But I was, you know, I'm in there and suffering through it, but I got through it one take, because I was like, I can't be doing this, you know, no 2 and 3 times. So I got through it, but then that night, it was hurting so bad, hurted actually worse than it had been hurting the whole time. So I didn't go in that day. I called the doctor to, you know, talk to her, you know, because I'm not sleeping, it's hurting. And she made an appointment for me to see her, I think the next day. So I went in and talked to her, told her I wasn't sleeping that good, I needed something. She still sent me back to work. So that kind of frustrated me. And that was, the holiday weekend was coming up. So she was like, you know, I worked that Friday, and she was like, well, we'll call you as soon as we have the results. So Monday come around, I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna get a call. Still didn't get a call. Shoulder hurting, I'm not sleeping, falling asleep on the truck that day. Not Monday, but that Tuesday I was falling asleep on the truck. So then Wednesday come around, I'm falling asleep on the truck again, you know, and I think I was supposed to see her in 2 weeks. So that's this coming Thursday coming up. So she didn't, you know, she wanted me to see her in 2 weeks. But she, you know, I went to therapy twice. This is my second time going to therapy. So when I went to therapy, they had me doing this thing like I'm riding a bike. So I'm doing that. I think she set me up for like 6 minutes. I think I did 2.5, 3 minutes or something like that. And she seen it was bothering me, the therapist did, so she stopped me. Then she tried to have me going backwards, and I really couldn't do that at all. So she put heat, and then she put ice on my shoulder, and didn't do nothing else with me, just kind of talked to me and everything. So I went on that Wednesday night to go to, and I fell asleep for a little while, but then it woke up and my shoulder was just aching and sharp pains, and I couldn't move it. So I asked the wife, I'm like, should I wait and see the doctor, or should I go to the emergency room? She said, oh, it's only a few hours, because it's like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning or something. She said, oh, you got just a few hours, 3-4 hours, you'll be seeing a doctor at 8 in the morning. And I said, okay, so I tried to relax and go back to sleep, and I just couldn't move it. It was hurting so bad, so I told her, I said, you gotta take me to the emergency room. So she dressed me, put my pants on, helped me get my shirt on. So she ran me to the emergency room. So now, the MRI was like, this was like Wednesday. They should have had the results for the MRI, I think, maybe Monday or Tuesday. So they never called me. Somebody called me later and said, oh, it was a mix-up and somebody was supposed to call and they didn't call. But when I got to because I'm still not knowing what's going on, and I'm telling my job that I'm falling asleep on the truck and everything. And, like, to me, it's like, we can't do nothing if they telling you to come to work, and, I need to make money, so I'm gonna go to work. I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna work no matter how much pain I'm in, I'm going to work, so I have to pull over at times and go to sleep, take power naps and drive, and get down to Baker, dump, and then I fell asleep again till the next truck came back there to dump. I think I got like 15 minutes of some kind of rest. And then, I was able to come to the shop. And I think that first day I thought I had therapy, but when I got in, Jerry told me, no, your therapy appointment is for tomorrow, not today. I think it was the 28th, and this was the 27th, so it's just been a mess, guys. So, yeah, so this is probably going to be a couple of different videos, but I got, the work, and like I said, I went to therapy and everything, so yeah. And then when I got to the emergency room, they said, have anybody gave your results for the MRI yet? And the nurse, male nurse, he was kind of getting upset, because he said it wasn't right. He said, your shoulder is totally, it's all kind of stuff going on in there. Well, that was probably for me driving, and instead of that doctor resting me and let my arm rest and have me driving. So, I'm like, shoulder totally messed up, He said, you got a torn rotator cuff, but it's some nerve, it's other stuff going on in there. So I'm like, he said, you need surgery. He said, therapy or nothing is going to do nothing for you. You need surgery. So then they sent me home, gave me 2 days off. And I think that Friday, either that Thursday or Friday, they called me and they had me an appointment to see the surgeon. So the wife went with me because I couldn't drive. So she came home. That was the next day after I went to the emergency room. So I couldn't drive. They had me on this medicine, got me on this medicine. I can't drive and stuff. So she came, picked me. She left. She went to work. Now, in fact, it was the same day that I went to the emergency room. She went to work for a few hours because she works at the hospital, and then she came back at around 10:30, picked me up and took me to my doctor's appointment. And, the doctor took me off work, saying he's got to, I guess, make sure workman's comp is going to cover the surgery and all of that. So he took me off 4 to 6 weeks. And that was just, last Thursday, and this is Sunday, so yeah, so I'm off work, until then, so it ain't been easy. Me and the wife kind of been at it a little bit.
Well, first of all, you know that I love you, and
Never
I
said
do,
you didn't.
and I do all I can for you, and I'm here to support you. And it's been stressful because you going through. I've been trying to hold down at work. I've been trusting in God for you. I knew something was going on. I had just told you recently that I was going to go to your appointment. I was going to leave work and go to your appointment.
Next doctor's appointment with that Patricia lady.
And get her told.
Right.
In a real nice way, because I do work for that company. But the way she was treating you wasn't right, and she needed to know you had someone that loved you and is going to support you, and I'm an advocate for you.
Okay.
So, yes, it has been stressful because you haven't been feeling good. And with that particular injury, you can't really sleep, not unless you kind of sitting up, because you can't lay back, you can't lay to the side because it hurt. You definitely can't lay on that side. So I understand everything, and I haven't been sleeping as well.
Yeah, I know.
Because I've been hearing you.
You know.
I've been hearing you every night. So when I mentioned to you, we watched a couple of movies on Friday after I got off work, and I had been up like 24 hours myself, because I got up with you at 4. I worked all day to 4, back and forth, running back and forth to work. Then I tried to sit outside and get a little break and come in and get ready for work on Friday after we got your results at the emergency room Thursday morning at 4 o'clock in the morning. So when I was talking to you the other day, and I was like, God is going to make you more humble. The reason I say that is because you never been in surgery.
See, I got kind of offended by that, because I didn't get what she was saying, because you know, your opinion of yourself ain't what other people's opinion of you is, you know. So I'm thinking I'm a humble person. Now I know I can, you know, that old man could come out of me.
Everybody.
You know, but overall I think I'm a humbling person. So when she said God is gonna make you more humble, I didn't know how to take that, because see, we done been through so much with her over the years. And, you know, I talked to my guy, Binky, and I've always wanted to talk about your breast cancer, but he told me that, you know, not to do that, because that's your issue. That's your walk, and you never wanted nobody to know, which I didn't ever understand, because I felt it would be a good testimony for people out there to know how we endured through all of that.
It is a good testimony, and we'll talk about it at a certain time.
We can't talk about it today.
We're talking about you today and how we're going to overcome this. So when I was telling Robbie about being more humble, God is going to humble him more. Those was my exact words. It's because you have to have confidence in your surgeon. You have to have confidence in your anesthesiologist. And you have to have confidence when you awake, everything is going to be resolved. And that's a different kind of humble, because you're really at the mercy of other people. Even though you trust and love God and his mercy and grace endureth forever, he give us physicians, and you want to make sure they do the right thing. So when you're going through surgery like that, it could bring on some anxiety. But knowing that you're going to go through surgery and you have confidence in your physician and everyone I just named, your nurses and everything, under God, it makes you more humble. Because really you lying there and you come out of surgery, you be freezing cold, because you actually lying there with nothing on in case something goes wrong. You lying there the way you came in. That's how you lying there in surgery. So, or laying there in surgery. So it's just, it's a different kind of humble that God bring you on. Only if you trust and believe in Him. Because you could go in there prideful and not believe and trust in God, and things could still go well, but what is your testimony? So,
like right now, I can say I don't know if I've been depressed, or I don't know if it's disappointed. Depression, because see, I'm not used to not doing anything. I'm not used, I'm used to working. I work on a truck between 9 to 11 hours a day, and then I get off work and I'm always in the garage, working on my cars, doing stuff, going to the movies with the wife, doing different things, out to dinner, just sitting, I get laid off a lot in the winter, but when I'm laid off, I can go out in the garage and, back and forth, and I'm doing different things, but right now I can't do nothing, can't even drive, so it's pretty, it's not a good state to be in, but I'm getting used to it kind of quick, and you have to trust in God when you're going through things like this, because it's a different experience for me.
It is totally different.
Yeah, I'm not used to not being able to do anything, so, and that kind of was hurting me, like I had to tell somebody called me from the hospital because the message I left about the lady not calling me about my results. And, I had to bring up race, like, is this because I'm a black male, that I'm, y'all making me work when I'm telling you I can't sleep? I have to tell the lady, I'm like, I could fall asleep and your daughter, your mother, your granddaughter could be on the side of me and I could run over her and kill her. I'm hauling 80,000 pounds on this truck, and I'm letting this doctor know over and over again I'm not sleeping, and she tell me, oh, you're going to work anyway. To me, it just wasn't right. I don't felt I was treated right, and even I had to call my boss, and I'm like, Tom, why is, like, I had a couple of friends telling me I need to get a lawyer, but then the workman's comp lady, when she called me, she asked, have you got a lawyer yet? And I'm like, why do I need a lawyer? I just want to get my shoulder operated on where I can get back to work. I'm not trying to be off work the rest of my life. I got things, I'm 60. I got things I still want to do and do. I'm not trying to be on disability. So I'm not getting none of that, I'm not getting it. So, yeah, the devil, when she said, you're going to be more humble, well, the devil put it in my mind that, what is she saying?
God is going to humble you more.
But the devil had my mind thinking like, what is she saying? Am I not humble already or what? So these are just things you go through, and the Bible tell us, don't think you're not gonna go through the same things that the world.
Many afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord will deliver them out of them all.
But that's also the way you think too. Don't think that you ain't gonna think sometime the way the world think.
The same illness fall on sinners will fall on believers.
On believers too.
On believers
yeah, and those thoughts.
And
those thoughts, that had me and her bickering. Cause me, I'm not the one to hold my tongue. So I kind of got offended by what she said because I didn't understand it.
And I wanted to say this: while you going through your affliction, if you're not concentrating on things of God, the devil plays. An idle mind is the devil's playground.
And for a little, yeah.
Yeah, and so I understand. That's why I hurried up and said, I'm sorry. I never said you wasn't humble. That's what I was telling you. I was just saying God is gonna humble you more.
Right.
So when he humble you more, you just gonna be like, okay, God, you have this. You're gonna take me through this. You're gonna lead the surgeon hand if they don't hit no artery. You're gonna go through all of this with me. A matter of fact, he knew the beginning to the end. So he knew your shoulder at 60 was gonna be all rotator cuff, tendons, and all that muscles and stuff was gonna be torn. That's not his best for us. We know that come from the enemy, but we have to go through. And when we go through trusting God in it all, because of his son Jesus Christ, who adopted us into the family, we trusting in him through it all.
Gotta trust through it. Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a blessing for God to humble you more, to me, because when you humble more, it takes you to another platform in him. Because you could go witness to somebody and say, I went through that and I was a little depressed, I was this and that, and me and my wife had it out, but I know you can make it because I've been through where you going. I had surgery shoulder for my labrum from a bad car accident. My collarbone was dislocated and everything, and it was right before my cancer experience, a year prior. I had surgery 2009, cancer 2010. Okay, so I don't know the rotator's cuff. I know it's really serious because you can't do nothing with that. That's the main thing in your arm rotator. It rotates. It make your arm do all this. That's why it's called rotator cuff.
See, that's something else too. It's like, I just watched a couple of videos on it over the weekend. I never watched videos or knew nothing about it, but because I didn't know what was wrong. So why watch a video if I didn't know what was wrong? But after they told me, I was sitting down over the weekend and like trying to see what should I do, something the second therapist told me, because I had to reschedule all my appointments because they made them during the day. And I told them I want them after work. I can't leave the truck in the middle of the day. So when I watched a couple of those videos, it was like things that you could do or how it will hurt. So when the wife went to therapy for me, when I got in there, that lady asked me, how your shoulder? I said, it's not hurting at all. I said, it's not hurting. I hadn't been doing nothing. I think I was off that day. I couldn't sleep or something, or did I work? I worked. Yeah, I worked, but it wasn't hurting when I got to the therapist. I got off at 1, went home, relaxed. By the time I made it to the therapist, it wasn't hurting me. And when I said it, the wife kind of looked at me like, why are you telling this lady it wasn't hurting? But once she put me on that bike thing, it started killing me, and I don't know, like right now, sitting here, my shoulder is not hurting me, guys. It's not hurting me. But if I get to moving it and doing different things, it'll pop, sharp pains is hurting, guys. So, the devil will, I did kind of get offended when she said that. So, I didn't understand it. I think I'm a very humble person, but I didn't understand what she was saying. And, but it's different, guys, when you're used to doing something. I remember my father had Alzheimer's, and it hurt for me to see him. I spent so much time with him before that because he had got to where he couldn't drive, and I would pick him up. Actually, when I first met my wife, girlfriend at the time, one of our first dates on a Saturday morning, she said, what you doing tomorrow? I said, well, every Saturday morning I take my dad, if I'm not working, I take my dad for a ride. He used to like to ride through the country and stuff. So I take my dad and my mom, I take them in the country for a ride every Saturday morning. So she said, well, I want to go, you know. And that impressed me. I'm like, wow, you know, she wouldn't take a ride with me out through the country with my parents. You know, and I remember that day my dad said, you better marry her. She pretty like your mother Ruby. But, you know, it's just something, guys. So I just wanted to come in. I know this is a pretty long video, guys, and I might just air the whole thing because I probably will. I got videos that I could still be posting, you know, but I'm telling you guys, going to work, getting off in pain, sitting down editing videos the last 3 weeks just ain't been something that's been on my mind or that I'm even wanted to do. The lady was making me go to work, you know, and I'm telling her that I'm not sleeping and my shoulder is killing me, you know, when I'm driving, and she's still making me go to work. So I was getting off every day and I just was not in the mood to be doing anything else. And my mother, she stay upstairs in the efficiency apartment, and she said, yeah, I noticed you ain't been out in the garage, you ain't been doing, you know, I would go out there, look around, and, you know, but I just ain't been in the mood to do nothing. Get off work, come home and lay down and try to get some sleep, and so I could go to work because the lady was making me go to work, which things need to change in this country. They really do. You know, but she's gonna have to face God one day too. She's gonna have to face God if she's treating people for her job the wrong way, whatever the reason is, whether that's just her job or not. She's gonna have to face God. Patricia is gonna have to stand before God one day for treating his child the wrong way. And anybody else, anything that come up with this workman's comp, if they say it didn't happen at work, I was telling my boss, when I'm working on the car, I'm working low. I'm not really reaching, I'm not really doing too much over, you know, like overextending my arm, you know, very seldom. You know, so because I got friends saying, oh, they might say it with the stuff you do in the garage, it happened at home. Well, I have no reason to lie. My boss, Jerry, said they asked him, and he said, we have no reason to not believe in what he said because I've been there for years. Been there 25 years. When I first got hired, guys used to lie on me and say I was doing stuff. But sometimes I was doing stuff wrong and they would be telling the truth. When they was lying, I stood up for myself. I stood firm. I was the only black guy at this company for years. And they hired one not too long ago, and he worked about 3-4 months and he's gone now. That was just last year into this year, you know, or the beginning of this year, whenever it was. So I would have guys lying on me. But when they would tell the truth and say, oh, he did this or he was doing, whenever my boss told me something that I was doing that I know I did, I would tell him, yeah, Tom, yeah, I was speeding through the pit. You know, the pit call, or if I wasn't speeding, sometimes they say I'm doing something that I wasn't doing. I'm like, no, that guy, he's lying. So, you know, and I don't know if he asked some of the other drivers, and some of them probably said, no, he wasn't. Some of them say, yes, he was. So, you know, Tom knows what guy is going to lie and what guys he can trust. Tom got to know over the years that I was not a liar. I don't like liars. I don't like to lie. Yeah, if you got a ugly baby that look like Methuselah Thug, you know, I might say, oh, look how pretty that baby is. But I'm not gonna lie to get out of trouble. I used to love Beretta, you know, don't do the crime if you can't do the time. So guys, hey, pray for me. This has not been easy. This is not easy, you know, because I'm waiting. Hopefully they'll get me in for the surgery. He got me off 4 to 6 weeks. I'm hoping he called me tomorrow and say, we got you scheduled for sometime this week. I can get in, get the shoulder operated on, because he's talking about sometime from 3 to 6 months before, you know, it's healed. You know, that'll take me on in the next year. And, you know, I was just this close to getting my Wildcat done too. So, you know, but it is what it is. God have his reasons for everything that happens in life. Why I wait to get 60, you know, I ain't never broke a bone. I ain't, you know, why I wait to 60 for, you know, something like this to happen. Only God knows why he's got me going through what he's got me going through, guys. But I think I'm going to just post this video the way it is. And I'll get back to posting videos because actually last Friday night I slept for at least 4 hours. Last night I think I slept pretty good.
You want to go out with me a little bit this afternoon to Sam's Club?
Yeah, I could ride with you.
Okay.
Get me out the house. But yeah, so it is what it is, guys. So hey, stay prayed up. Have a blessed Sunday, and God bless you all. All right.